Welcome back for another deep dive into modern Indian history,
Yeah.
specifically for the UPSC GS1. Last time we talked about the big picture,
Mm.
but this time we're going deeper
Deeper into what?
into the lower caste movements
Ah, okay.
and a really important figure,
Okay.
Dr. B.R. Ambedkar.
Right. Yeah, of course he's.
So if you're prepping for the UPSC, you're just
Mhm.
interested in history,
Mm-hmm.
this is for you.
Yeah, definitely a key figure.
And to help us understand,
Yeah.
we have our expert
Hi.
ready to explore.
Definitely.
Okay, so Dr. Ambedkar's story.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty incredible.
It is.
Like rising above so much adversity.
Yeah, he was born in 1891
Right.
and considered untouchable.
I mean, just imagine those challenges.
It's hard to even fathom.
But he was brilliant academically.
Oh, yeah.
Degrees from Bombay University,
Mm.
then Columbia,
Yes.
London School of Economics.
And a barrister, too.
a barrister.
Yeah.
That education seems so key.
Central to his story.
Like seeing Western ideas of equality,
Right.
but then coming back to the reality of the caste system.
Yeah, that contrast must have been
Yeah.
really fueled his
And
fight.
he didn't just write about it.
No, he got active.
In 1924, he founded the Bahishkrit Hitkarini Sabha,
Ah, yes, Saba.
an organization to help the marginalized
Right. Promoting social awareness.
and advocating for their rights.
Exactly. They knew change needed more than just thoughts.
Hmm.
It needed action.
And they weren't afraid of direct action either.
Like the Mahad Tank Satyagraha.
In 1927,
Right.
where they challenged being denied access to water.
Just because of their caste.
It's so symbolic.
It is.
Like water is essential.
a basic need.
Denying that shows just how dehumanizing the caste system was.
Exactly. It was a bold move.
Definitely grabbed attention.
Forced people to see the reality of caste discrimination.
And this fight led him to the national stage.
Yes.
The roundtable conferences in London.
In the early 1930s.
He's there talking about India's future,
Mm-hmm.
but never forgets about Dalit emancipation
No, he used that platform to argue
for separate electorates.
for Dalits.
He believed it was the only way
To guarantee their
and
representation.
that their voices wouldn't be lost.
Yeah, otherwise they'd be drowned out by the dominant castes.
But that idea was controversial.
Oh, very much so.
Even within the independence movement,
Mm.
Gandhi was strongly against it,
Yes, Gandhi believed,
that it would divide society even more.
and make caste identities stronger.
So he fasted
In protest of separate electorates.
against the British government's communal award.
It's fascinating.
This clash between two giants,
Ambedkar and Gandhi,
two different approaches to social justice.
reflecting the complexity of the freedom struggle,
And ultimately, they reached a compromise.
the Poona Pact.
In 1932,
Right.
reserved seats for Dalits, but within the general electorates.
But the legacy of that pact is still debated.
Did it really do what Ambedkar hoped,
Some say it was just token representation.
without addressing the root of the problem?
The caste hierarchy itself.
But Ambedkar didn't stop there.
No, he kept pushing.
Formed the Scheduled Caste Federation,
In 1942,
a political party specifically for Dalits,
to challenge the Congress Party.
on their approach to untouchability,
He was always adapting
finding new ways to empower Dalits.
and dismantle that system.
And then we get to his most enduring contribution.
The Constitution.
He was chairman of the drafting committee,
Yeah, shaping the very foundation of independent India.
and his fingerprints are all over it,
Oh, absolutely.
like abolishing untouchability,
Article 17,
making it a crime,
a revolutionary step.
and he championed fundamental rights.
Equality before the law.
No discrimination based on caste, religion, gender.
The groundwork for a more just society.
And he fought for affirmative action
Reservations for scheduled castes and scheduled tribes.
to help correct historical disadvantages.
Creating a more level playing field.
It's like he's weaving social justice.
Into the very fabric of the nation.
But his vision wasn't limited to just laws,
No. He believed in religious reform as well.
which ultimately led him to Buddhism
Right.
in 1956,
A powerful statement.
rejecting the caste hierarchy within Hinduism
Embracing a faith based on equality.
and compassion.
A deeply symbolic act.
And he wasn't just a man of action.
A prolific writer, too.
Books like Annihilation of Caste,
Who are the Shudras?
still relevant today,
They really are.
scholarly and passionate,
He delves into history.
analyzes scripture.
Exposes how caste discrimination works.
And he doesn't just criticize,
He offers solutions.
challenges the very foundation of the caste system. A scholar, a lawyer, an activist, a politician, a writer.
A truly remarkable figure.
But it's important to remember,
Yes.
He wasn't alone in this fight.
Other lower caste movements were happening too.
And to truly understand this struggle,
We need to look at them all,
each with its own approach,
contributing to the fight against caste discrimination, like the Aravipura movement.
down in Kerala,
Right.
late 19th century,
Yeah, led by Sri Narayana Guru,
focusing on the Azava community.
who faced a lot of disadvantages.
Social and economic.
They really emphasized education.
That seems to be a common theme.
It is.
Education as a way
Like the cycle.
to challenge those traditional caste-based jobs.
Right, give them the skills to improve their standing.
And they also fought for temple entry rights,
Yeah, directly challenging that idea of ritual purity.
which is so tied to caste.
It is.
So they're tackling both social and religious discrimination.
Trying to hit it from all angles.
What about the Nadar movement?
In Tamil Nadu,
How was their approach different?
well, they had a more strategic approach.
Strategic.
Yeah, they wanted upward mobility,
Okay.
but by adopting upper caste customs,
Really?
even claiming Kshatriya status.
So fighting the system by using the system,
In a way, yes.
it shows just how complex this all is.
It does.
You can't just erase centuries of hierarchy overnight.
Exactly. They realized you had to work within the system, too.
Then there's Ayothi Thas,
A Tamil activist.
whose view was quite different,
He believed the only solution was leaving Hinduism.
converting to Buddhism,
Right, rejecting Hinduism completely.
because he saw it as inseparable from the caste system.
Exactly. You couldn't have true equality within Hinduism.
So even within these movements,
There were different ideas about the path to liberation.
some like Ambedkar fighting for equality within the system,
Others, like Thas, saying you have to break away completely.
and of course Gandhi had his own approach too.
With the Congress Harijan movement,
Right, in the early 20th century,
focusing on moral persuasion and reform,
appealing to the upper caste's conscience.
hoping for a change of heart.
He even used the term Harijan
Children of God.
to emphasize their inherent dignity,
But some criticized his approach
for being too idealistic.
and not addressing the systemic nature of caste oppression.
Like Ambedkar believed it relied too much on the goodwill of the oppressors.
Instead of empowering the oppressed to fight for themselves
Oh, many different perspectives.
on a deeply rooted problem.
But what about after independence?
Did freedom bring social justice?
Well, sadly, the caste system didn't just disappear,
No. The fight continued
taking new forms,
and facing new challenges.
like the Mandel Commission,
Head up in 1979.
to look at the disadvantages faced by the OBCs,
The other backward classes.
and they recommended reservations
27% for OBCs.
in education and government jobs.
A huge debate erupted.
It was a big moment when those recommendations were implemented.
In 1990,
Suddenly, social justice was front and center,
trying to create more opportunities.
but some worried about the unintended consequences.
That it might reinforce caste identities.
Instead of moving away from them,
A very complex issue.
the debate continues today.
It does.
What other movements emerged in this post-independence era
Well, you have groups like the Dalit Panthers,
in the 1970s?
inspired by the Black Panthers in the U.S.,
A much more confrontational approach.
challenging oppression head-on.
And then Kanshi Ram,
A powerful leader.
founding the Bahujan Samaj Party in 1984, uniting Dalits, Adivasis, and other marginalized groups,
A force to be reckoned with in politics.
showing that political consciousness was growing.
But the fight went beyond just politics.
Absolutely. Movements focused on specific issues emerged.
Like land rights,
Dalit land rights movement,
economic empowerment through owning land,
and the Safai Karamchari Andolan.
fighting to end manual scavenging,
Such a dehumanizing practice.
led by people like Biswatta Wilson,
Bringing attention to this issue.
advocating for mechanization and rehabilitation
A fight for dignity and respect.
for everyone, regardless of caste,
A constant struggle.
to challenge what's seen as normal,
And all these movements
despite their different approaches.
share that goal of dismantling the caste hierarchy.
They want a more just and equitable India.
And it's not just about legal equality.
Right. No, it's deeper than that.
It's about changing society itself.
Culture, economics, everything.
Like owning land, giving people economic power,
Exact.
or ending practices like manual scavenging.
It's all
And the Dalit Women's Collective, too,
right.
showing how caste and gender intersect.
Creating even more challenges for Dalit women.
It makes you think.
Yeah.
Knowing that history isn't enough,
No.
we have to understand how it still affects India today.
Caste discrimination didn't just vanish.
It's still there,
In so many ways.
sometimes hidden, sometimes not.
We have to see those biases, those practices.
And understand the roots of the problem.
So we can work towards a solution.
Especially those of us who haven't experienced it directly.
It's easy to stay silent,
But we need to talk about it.
challenge prejudice,
And be allies.
not just bystanders,
It's on all of us.
to create a more inclusive society.
And what strikes me
Yeah,
is how resilient these communities are,
they never gave up.
pushing India to face its past.
And fight for a better future, it gives me hope.
Me too.
It shows that change is possible.
Even against the toughest odds.
Even the deepest systems can be challenged,
And everyone's voice matters.
no matter who you are.
So for our UPSC folks,
This is all super important,
For GS1,
especially modern Indian history.
knowing this stuff will give you an edge.
It's not just about dates and names,
No, it's about understanding India.
how we got here and where we're going.
So keep digging deeper.
Read Ambedkar
Learn about these movements.
and think about how you can make a difference.
Yeah, because it's on all of us.
Well, we've reached the end of our deep dive.
It's been a journey
Hope you found it useful.
and insightful.
If you did, don't forget to subscribe and like.
Yeah.
We'll be back with more deep dives soon
Exploring all kinds of fascinating topics.
to help you with the UPSC.
And just to learn more about the world.
Until then, keep learning, keep questioning.
And keep pushing for a better world.